Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Sierra video. Or as I like to call it, the only person who ever uploads on the channel anymore. No tea though. Is it just me, or like every time you turn on the camera, wherever you're filming, it just becomes 20 degrees hotter? Like, what? Alright guys, so it has been a minute since I have talked to you. I think the last video I uploaded was my Ed Sheeran vlog, which, what an amazing day that was. I've tried to get a little bit better at this whole upload thing lately, and I actually made a schedule that I'm kind of sticking to, and I'm kind of proud. I created a schedule where I am filming and uploading every 2 weeks, so we're gonna see how that goes. And I do have a lot to update you guys on. Originally, I was going to make this video an update slash storytime video on something really crazy that's happened in mine and Haley's life in the past month. But I was talking to Tia last night about what videos I have planned for the future, and she convinced me to upload this today. Very soon I will be uploading a video kind of updating you guys and just explain what's happened to me since July, I guess. But today I want to talk to you guys about a completely different thing. I'm not gonna lie, I've been putting it off for some reason since I returned home from Vidcon back in June. As all of you guys may know, 5 out of 7 people from the 7 Wonders channel went to Vidcon this year, and it was awesome. I originally was going to make a video like I did last year explaining all my Vidcon experiences, but if you watch my vlogs, you guys would know that I was really sick at Vidcon this year, and I really don't remember a lot. Like, I may as well have been on drugs the whole time I was at Vidcon, because that's how much I don't remember from the trip. I was that sick that it all just went by in a blur. But I will say, whenever I do talk about VidCon, one specific event always pops into my mind. That event was meeting Dan and Phil for the first time. This is a very long, strenuous and emotional journey for me, so I'm sorry for what this video is probably going to turn into. So I am just gonna jump right in and tell you about the time that I met my idols from when I was 14. It all began back in May. Tia, Haley, and I all FaceTimed the day that we were finding out our VidCon signing results. For those of you who have never been to VidCon or you don't understand the whole signing lottery thing, I think it was last year, VidCon implemented this system where instead of camping out to meet your favorite creators, so that it's more organized and safer, they implemented this thing where when you register for VidCon, they send you a list of creators who are signed up to have meet and greets during the convention. And you pick 15 different YouTubers from the list that you wouldn't mind meeting. And then you rank them from who you want, like, first and who you don't really want. The VidCon system randomly generates up to 4 people for you. And it's completely random people that are picked from your list. They try to go by your top 5, but like, it doesn't work out that way. You are never that lucky. Haley has just been my good luck charm. For some reason, we always meet famous people when I'm with her. We always, like, good things always happen, and I don't know how. Like, shit, the amount of luck that kid has amazes me. And then my wonderful sister Haley got the best people. She got Kingsley, which she was freaking out about. She got Megan Rinks, which, again, like, crying over. And then who was Haley's number 1? It was Dan and Phil. What the fuck? Only 5% of the people attending VidCon got Dan and Phil, and I was just like, how did a random 16-year-old from Vegas manage to get Dan and Phil? What? Of course, like, Haley couldn't just like tell me like, hey, I think I'm gonna give you my Dan and Phil wristband. Like, Haley wrote me this long ass letter and then made me read it on camera, and Tia filmed me reading it, and actually I'll ask her for a clip right now of how that conversation went. So here's that.
In the eye, that's adorable. You like to do a lot of cute and cool things for me. True. You are the main reason I got into YouTube. You took and paid for me last year at VidCon. I did that. You took me to my first concert where you almost died. Oh wait, no, you didn't. That was your second. Oh, and last year you took me to, there's a word, to go see my favorite band, Pierce the Veil, where you almost died. Truly, I could never pay you back for doing any of this, but I found one way. This year at VidCon 2017, you will be meeting the ever so famous Dan and Phil. I got them for meet and greet. I know you did not. That's so depressing. So I'm giving you mine. You really fucking deserve this. Okay, I have a condition, but it's not that big of a deal. If you can't get it, it's okay. Is it like buying you something? No. Because I'll give you all of the dollars in my bank. So on the meet and greet thing, it says that they don't have professional photography, so it's selfies and autographs. Yay! If you get like my badge or like my ticket autographed by them, that would be amazing. Okay. Because I know that you're gonna enjoy that so much more than I ever will be able to. Also, you're on my Finsta. Say hi. No!
You're gonna meet Dan and Phil, Sierra.
Wait, hold on, I need to get up. Sierra, who are you meeting at VidCon? I smell like a pool. I don't care. I zoomed up on your face. Great. I love you. I love you too.
Oh.
Sierra's on my ass right now.
That's cool. Like, there was only a month until VidCon, and I was gonna meet Dan and Phil, all because of my awesome sister. Like, what? Oh, but it's never that simple when it comes to VidCon. So, another thing about the signing lottery, which is interesting. They're very strict. Oddly strict. So basically when you register for VidCon on the first day, you get your pass, you get like a little goodie bag of stuff, and the people registering you put your wristbands on. Now, let me explain wristbands to you. The wristband is a specific color, and on the wristband, printed in black font, they have the time and the day. And then there's this little square with a little space for a sticker, and the sticker says the line number. VidCon thinks they're sneaky, putting these little plastic wristbands on our wrists, like, ha, you're never gonna get that off in 3 days. The popular thing to do this year, if you had the correct color and day and time wristband, all people had to do was like very carefully peel off their sticker and put it on top of the other one, right? Oh, this is what started my pain and agony at this convention. Managed to get the wristband on. I was good. Like, I was gonna meet Dan and Phil for sure. I was talking with my friend Ashley, mentioned her a bunch of times, love that girl to death. Her and her sister both got the Dan and Phil meet and greet as well this year. So her and I were texting the night before, and we both agreed that we didn't want to line up too early Because with the meet and greets, you can line up to an hour early for your meet and greet so that you get a good spot in line. And meet and greets only go an hour after they're scheduled to go. So mine was at 2:30, so the meet and greet's only supposed to last until about 3:30, right? Well, Ashley did tell me, she's like, yeah, since it's a smaller meet and greet, I'd rather not line up so early so that we can be more towards the back, because of course they're not gonna rush like the last people in line, because it's like, what's the point? You don't have any more people to get through. So I suggested that we get there at 2 o'clock, half an hour before the meet and greet starts. It'll be fine, right? It was so incredibly not fine. So we got there. Tia had her Tyler meet and greet. The line went outside the meet and greet hall, outside the Vidcon hallway, and practically to the parking garage next door because so many people lined up. So here's where things start taking a different turn. Well, remember how I said the popular thing to do at Vidcon this year was trade wristbands? Well, their 250 people meet and greet turned into 600 people. 600 people! So, most meet and greet lines only took up that one row. Well, the extra ass Dan and Phil meet and greet took up that entire row, and then we had an overflow line. That overflow line, I left a part of me there that day. Of course, when we first got in there, Ashley, her sister, and I were in the overflow line. We're like, okay, this isn't so bad, right? Girl, let me tell you, it was bad. It was so incredibly bad. The overflow line was completely full of people. And it was 2 hours before anyone acknowledged us. The entire security team within the meet and greet hall literally had a tea spilling session by the metal detectors about the Dan and Phil line because it was that serious. There were that many people. If Vidcon sees one little scratch on a wristband, they will be like, no, go away. You clearly didn't get that fairly. So they had a security member go up and down the lines asking to see our wristbands, and he kicked out a few people who had like clearly damaged ones, so of course they were sad. But he only managed to kick out like 10 people. So then the security guard left and then came back with this new official person who had a giant ass packet of people's names who were supposed to be there. Attention! If you're not supposed to be here, please leave. We won't judge you or get mad, but if we find out that you're lying when we get to you, then we will take away your VidCon badge. You'd think that people would be smart enough to leave at that point. But no. People still tried these VidCon security guards. So I was just trying to stay as cool and collected on the outside as possible. And, you know, I walked up to the security guard. I didn't say anything. I was about to like flash her. Like I was prepared with this whole backstory on like how this wristband is mine, but I just registered under a different name. And like literally the VidCon security guard just like glanced for 1 second and was like, okay, you can go. And I was like, I was fast walking away very silently with Ashley, and I was just like, holy shit, I just fooled VidCon, what? So the time finally came, I was in the correct line. It was like 4:30 in the afternoon when I finally got into the Dan and Phil line. So Dan and Phil were also very tired. Like they had gone through like 400 people probably, and they were so tired of standing that they had to keep going backstage to take like little 5-minute breaks and stuff. And I don't know if any of you are One Direction fans, but you know that video that has surfaced of Liam within the past few months where he like takes a picture with a fan and he's all smiling and then he frowns and then he's like smiling and then he frowns? That was literally Phil Lester that day. Everyone around me and Ashley were like crying. They're like, I can't believe we're gonna beat Dan and Phil right now, like, and they're like on the phone with like their friends and stuff, like, bitch. And then there was me and Ashley who were taking pictures of Dan and Phil when they weren't looking and trying to make memes out of them. I don't know why. This was my first time meeting them, and it was Ashley's like third time meeting them. So she was like, haha, this is your first time meeting them. You're going before anyone else. Great. So it got to the point. I was up next. There was one person in front of me. I was like, fuck, this is so real right now. I was so aware of everything around me. So the person in front of me was like a 5-year-old little boy, and I was just like, I was hoping that someone who was more my age was in front of me so that I can be like, okay, look at them interacting. It's fine. You're gonna be good. But all the little boy did was like hug them and then walk away. So I had no time to prepare what I was gonna do next. So then came the moment of truth. The little boy and mom had left. Everything around me felt silent. I was staring straight forward, and there they were. Phil Lester's beautiful eyes staring into my soul. All I can remember is that I was walking, but I could not feel my legs for the life of me, and I was like, holy fucking shit, what the fuck? I felt so awkward because I wanted to fully embrace Phil, but I was wearing this hat. And let me tell you, this hat doesn't like to stay on my head. So when I hug people, especially those that are like 4 feet taller than me, my hat gets knocked off my head and onto the ground. And I didn't want that awkward interaction. So I literally held on to my hat with one hand and then just like awkwardly wrapped the other arm around Phil. And I was just like, oh God, this is so awkward. So then after that, I hugged Dan, and like, I love my soft, squishy little boy so much. So like, I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, you've hugged them. Now we're gonna say stuff, girl. Let's do this. So I turned to face both of them. Couldn't feel my legs. And I was asking them how they were. I asked if they finally got any sleep. Basically, Dan and Phil pulled a Dan and Phil and like almost missed VidCon, and like they were on a plane for 2 days, and like I asked them how they were. I don't remember what they said because I was staring at their face so hard, but I'm sure it was great. So then Dan asked if I wanted to take a picture, and I said yes. And then I handed him my phone, and the next thing I know, this happened. Now, I was sunburnt from VidCon, and my shoulders were so red, and of course I wore a tank top in the picture, because who wouldn't fucking do that? So I just felt so bad, because my gross, crusty shoulders had to touch my king. So then, you know, like, of course I've waited 6 years to meet Dan and Phil. Like, surely I've thought for so long what I was gonna say to them, right? Your girl looked at them and said, oh, don't feel bad about the whole plane incident, because ever since I've been in California, I've been a sunburnt and dehydrated mess. Out of all the things I could have said to them, my idols, my kings, I said that! I was just feeling awkwardness and shame in myself. But then Dan reassured everything about me, and he looked straight into my eyes and he said, "We're on the same wavelength." And I was just like, King, yes, we are on the same wavelength. And like, the entire time that was happening, I was so aware of the numbness of my legs. I was taking a lot longer than I should have. The security was getting mad. I wanted to keep talking to Dan and Phil, and I didn't give a shit what they wanted. So the security guard looks at me and she's like, "Okay, come on, time to leave. Get out, ho." And my soft, beautiful, happy, curly king, Dan, he didn't just stop at "we're on the same wavelength." Like, he just kept going, kept making my life better. And he turned to the security guard and looked that girl right in the eye. And he was like, no, it's okay. And then turned back at me and gave me the most reassuring smile. I fucking love them. And you know, I wanted one of those awesome Tumblr moments like, "Oh, how it feels just meeting your fave," and like the person's like sobbing, saying how much they loved them and stuff. But as I was walking away, I just didn't feel like that. And to me, that made the meet and greet feel like so unreal that it wasn't even a part of me anymore. I don't know. And I was just in such utter shock that I had not only met them, but actually gotten through it being a semi-normal person. My wonderful sister met me outside of the hall, and she expected me to be just this sobbing, emotional mess, and I just wasn't. And I went up to her, and I was hugging her, and I was like, "Oh my god, I met them. Oh my god, I met them." And like, that's all I could say. I wasn't crying or anything, but that's just all that could come out of my mouth. I do this weird, like I have this weird reaction, like, I don't know if it's a panic attack or just my anxiety coming through, but I do this thing when I'm overwhelmed where I laugh really hard, and it's like a laugh where I'm like, it's like I'm just like forcing noise to come out of me. Like, I don't find anything funny, but like noise is just coming from me, and I start feeling breathless and I don't know what to do. And then, so there were these girls that were sitting like 5 feet from me, and I didn't notice them when I first came out, but they saw me like crying in Haley's shoulder, and they're like, "Did you just meet Dan and Phil?" And I was like, in my head, I was just like, "Yes, I did. Oh my god, I just met Dan and Phil." I'm like, I responded yes out loud to them, and then that's when it hit me. I was like, all I remember saying was, "I waited 6 years for this," and then the tears stream down my face. Like, that's what happened. I just started sobbing immensely, and I couldn't stop. I was like, holy shit, what? And for the rest of the night, every single person I came across, I went and told them, and in kind of a boastful way, I'm not gonna lie. On a real note, I think when I'm put in those situations where something really good happens, I think the reason that I get so emotional over it is because, like, a lot of these things that happen to me, they've kind of been in my life for a really long time. Something that always kept me strong and still keeps me strong to this day is the thought of more things like that happening, where even if it's just for like 10 seconds and you don't really get to say anything to them, like, I was strong enough to pull through so many situations in life to actually see the day where I met Dan and Phil. Like, also another thing to take away from this video is don't fuck with Vidcon. Like, go to Vidcon, but like, don't do stuff you're not supposed to do. This year was so crazy, like, so drama filled, and I'm sure you guys have heard all the drama from VidCon this year because it was like all over the damn internet. But if you do want me to make a video explaining some of the drama, then I guess I'll make a video on that. But I think that's gonna be it for now, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTuber stuff. I don't know. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this week. Bye, guys!